What's your toxic trait? I always have one foot out the door. Metaphorically, I am afraid to rely on anything or anyone completely. So I always have a what if escape plan, contingency plan thought out. Everything from career choice to alarm clocks. Jealousy. Can handle it decently well with good communication, but can't help feeling it. This, and I will add paranoia, trust issues. Has not texted me in a while. She is probably not interested. I bet she is out with someone else. Why would not she be? Who would want to date me? This is probably over. Repeated nauseam every time there is a while between talking. I have a really hard time taking people's words at face value. Most people's default setting is to assume people are telling the truth, and mine is the complete opposite. After having been burned so many times, I notice every little inconsistency regardless of whether it is relevant, and it makes me a little needy, and I definitely have to remind myself to tone it down a lot of the time. People have lives, and that does not mean they are not interested or seeing someone else. So many. No ambition. Laziness. Non-confrontational and avoidant. Shut down during arguments. 1T speak when emotional. Low self-esteem. People pleaser. Paranoia on whether people actually like or just tolerate me. Anger issues, especially when stressed. I think that makes up most of it, but of course, there could be things that people see and don't like that I don't even know yet. I take things too personally and blow relationships because I can't handle feeling like someone doesn't like me. Even though they don't say they don't like me, I get a feeling and there's no telling my brain it's wrong. I know about this. If you really like me, there's things in your past that led to these auto judgments. Once I started putting some pieces together, it was easier to work on. However, in the meantime, I made a deal with my brain LOL to cope and work away from it. I basically allowed myself to have that auto judgment. There's no point in arguing it because it doesn't go away. However, there's no reason why you can't ask in spite of these judgments. It takes some active work to get started, but the ball starts rolling quickly. For instance, one way to practice is to answer an obvious spam call. You know it's bullshit and you want to tell them to duck off. Don't answer. Be pleasant and ask questions as if you were trying to learn. One example is the car warranty calls. I lines address them by name and ask how they are. They lines ask about my car. I lines ask them how they know my warranty is expired. If they don't even know what car I have, they just hang up. In this instance, I got to know and feel the way I do, but behaved in a different way. You can find all sorts of little situations to practice this, and before you know it, you lines find yourself doing it all the time. Highly intense and emotional situations will seemingly out you right back where you started, but that just takes some time too. Good luck. Rampant paranoia. I assume everyone is going to screw me over at some point, so I document everything. Have a backup plan for everything, and have dirt on everyone in my life who has influence. 99% of it is wasted effort, but occasionally. Do you happen to have insomnia too? Unchecked insomnia can lead to horrible paranoia. I would not be surprised if it is connected with other health issues too. It is a mental health condition and there is treatment for it available. So if you think it is severe, or if it gets in the way of your life happiness, consider talking to your doctor about it. Meltdowns from minor inconveniences or changes in routine. Having to mentally prepare for simple tasks like innocuous phone calls. Getting childishly disappointed when something I've been looking forward to with intense excitement falls through. I hold grudges like a methodica. It is ridiculous and all out of proportion sometimes. But if you wrong me, I will remember, and I will privately hate you for it until the end of my days. Not openly, and I'm good at hiding it. But internally I hate a lot of people passionately over things that I really should let go of. God knows why. But I really struggle to genuinely forgive people. Like I can say the words and mean it in the moment, but I will never look at them the same ever again, no matter what they do to fix it. I'm far from perfect myself, so I'm fully aware of the hypocrisy, but I have not been able to successfully change it. I used to be like this. It only changed after I held a grudge against my grandmother as a teenager and refused to see her again. I attended her funeral, but I never talked to her again. I told myself she deserved it, but as I got older and wiser I changed my mind, and it screwed up my relationship with my grandfather for the rest of his life too. This was what taught me the value of forgiveness, and how forgiving someone is more for you than for them. I used to obsess over how angry I was for so much thought time. It took looking back to understand the saying, holding on to a grudge or hate is like taking poison and hoping that the other person dies. I have a feeling there are people who definitely deserve it, but I'm much more reserved about directing that much anger at anyone in the future. Edit also. Forgiveness and trusting someone to behave better can be two different things. I can forgive someone and not let them take advantage of me in the future. Chronic people pleaser here. Helping out toxic family and friends have put me in a lot of tight spots over the years, and I have only just begun to set boundaries. The guilt kills me every time I have to say no, even if I know I'm right, and I end up overcompensating the next time the same person asks me for help. I hate it. I lie to people, either about myself, other things, or about things people have said to me. I also talk a lot behind people's backs. Recently I got found out for it, so I've stopped ever since then. I'm someone that is very against and afraid of people lying to me, since I'm worried about what people think of me. No judgment at all. But what compels you to do that? Just curious. I think we are all guilty of the talking behind backs thing in one case or another. I don't want to sound like I am boasting, but I was a good child growing up. Didn't get in any trouble in school, and was just considered to be a nice person. So when we moved up into the next stage of school, people obviously changed and made different friends. I haven't made many new friends over the past 5 or so years, but all of my other friends have, so I think I lie to them in order to make myself seem good. For example, I lied to tell them I didn't say something bad, just so that they don't look at me in a negative way. And because I don't really have many friends, if I lose them then I don't really have anyone there. I have a good friend now that lead embellished pathologically. When I met him, I could hear his tone change when he did, due to experience with a previous friend who lied like breathing. He started as my roommate's friend, so I was just around him a lot, but did not like talking with him, because he would try to make every story better than the actual event, even when we were there. Turned out that he had an abusive upbringing and self-esteem issues, and did not feel likable as his regular self. It took months of calling him out socially. Our apartment was a social hub back then, and really hammering that his lying made me angry, but the regular life-free versions of his stories were good enough to get the laughs he was looking for. I literally told him, "You are a cool person. I want to be friends with you, not some made-up version of yourself." We have been great friends for 2 decades now, and since then he has become a much more authentic person. Figure out how to save face. If you catch yourself lying and come clean with your friends, you will feel much better about yourself when you get comfortable living honestly. Sometimes I can just complain and complain and complain without even realizing how negative I am being. You don't realize how much energy complaining negativity takes out of you until you make the conscious decision to stop doing it. I am working on it, but some days are still difficult. I can get irritated really fast. You can literally crack a joke that is slightly offensive to me, and if I'm in a bad mood, shit can escalate really fast. I usually apologize, but I have this trait from possibly my parents. I do not know why I act like that. I'm working RLY hard on it, but I'm insecure and tend to project that onto my friend's partner. Luckily I have been blessed with lovely, understanding people all around, and they are supporting me in trying to change. But it is a shitty trait of mine. I get this too. So I feel you. Depending on what you're insecure about, it might help you to write down a couple of things you did good throughout the day, or a few things you like about yourself, the way you look, etc. every night before bed. Like a reminder that you're worthy, deserving and loved. It can be simple things like I didn't overreact today, or I did that thing I've been putting off, or my little toes are so damn cute. I have ADHD and all the emotional dysregulation, rejection, sensitivity that comes with it. Not everyone realizes that my spaz moments only last seconds and are not significant or indicative of my actual reaction. Same with my hella sad moments. I take things hyper personally both when I misinterpret something I'm criticized and suck at covering up my tears and HF. That is uncomfortable for other people to deal with. It makes me really difficult to talk to unless someone understands my patterns well enough to know that the big bursts of emotion are hella fleeting and that I appreciate the self-reflection and rapid growth that constructive criticism actually brings me. Not easy with new relationships, even when I try to warn them. I believe people are intrinsically good, and surprise, surprise, they usually aren't. This leads me down a spiral of disappointment and hurt, soul searching and second guessing myself. That in turn leads me back to the fact that I don't want to believe that people are bad. So I keep believing the best, and around we go. Me 360 days of the year, man. I wish my best friend was nicer to me. I always ask how his life is going, express support, show how much I care amidst his struggles, when he claims no one does or will. We have known each other since we were kids, and I have felt like shit for most of those years, primarily because I'm made to feel stupid for caring. Me 5 days of the year he remembered my birthday this year, asked how I was doing, remembered I was nervous about something, and asked about that, thanked me for something. All is well. I take things personally and have a hard time getting over slights. As a result, I keep a distance between myself and my friends, but then get jealous when they are all closer to each other than to me. I'm working on trying to fix it, but I feel like I do not even know how to become closer friends with people anymore. Sometimes I overthink friendships and end up feeling like I need to ghost people. Ended up hurting a lot of people in high school, and now I have left myself with few friends, especially since COVID started. I realize how manipulative and ducked up that is, but for some reason I feel better running away than having to communicate. I always have to be the best at something, or I often lose interest in doing it. It is a gift and a curse. In one sense, it has turbo boosted my career because I'm always in it to win it and effort my way into wins. I have made a lot of money from that. But by another sense, I tend to let a loss or imperfection really affect my mood, and I can feel crushed by things so many others are able to easily dismiss. Been this way since I was a kid. Only played the sports I was really good at. Only pushed myself in the subjects where I performed best. I'm trying to improve by allowing myself hobbies or interests I'm not the best or an expert in. And I'm trying to learn to laugh at myself more and not take things so seriously. Because it turns out, always being out to win makes you look like an asshole a lot of the time. I can relate to this so much, even though I'm completely the opposite. I stick to something until I'm just good enough that I'm better than 95% of people, almost to the point of obsession, but then lack the drive or motivation to get any better and ultimately lose interest. Still absolutely beneficial towards my career and most of my hobbies, but I hate the fact that I'm quite good at quite a lot of things, but not necessarily great at any one of them. It's a self-fulfilling cycle too, where anytime I pick something new up, I always have a skill set behind me that I never really improve on afterwards. Because of this though, I have a ton of skills behind me, but none of them are really refined, because I do not have that internal drive and need some sort of external motivation to keep myself going once I have hit a certain point. Strangely enough, I have actually been trying to do what you are trying to do, less of to get around this. I have been trying to go into competitions relating to my career, think hackathons relating to data science and engineering, in order to get that external motivation, typically in the form of whatever prize you get as a result of winning. On top of this, you get to build up the skills as a result, so it really is a benefit regardless. I guess it really is all about finding the balance between the two though, getting the competitive side for the drive to be the best in something, while still managing to keep interest, even if you end up not being the best. I have so much patience with people I barely know, but seem to quickly get irritated with those who are close to me. Partner, I get irritated with him for the tiniest things. He does not deserve it at all. Also, I seem to give more patience to those that are difficult and work hard to get them to like me. For instance, I was bullied for more than a year in this workplace, and it took me a solid year to call it as it was and finally speak up. I really hate this about myself. I'm too scared to ask my friends if they want to hang out. But then I get really sad and jealous when they have fun without me. In my head, they have to ask me then, because then I know that they actually want me around. But I also ask myself, what if they are doing this because they feel bad for me? Do they actually think I'm super annoying and hate me? I also take a lot of things too seriously. I have an avoidant attachment style in romantic relationships. My girlfriend of 2 years and I just broke up the other day partially because of this. She falls more in the category of anxious attachment, which created a negative feedback loop. She would need more praise, more affection, more affirmation. That would push me further into my shell, which in turn made her need more of what I struggled to give, which would push me further. The weird thing is that I have close friendships and a good relationship with my family now that I'm an adult. Romantic relationships start off great, but then as more issues happen in the relationship, I build walls to protect myself. Once a partner has hurt me a handful of times, I start having a real difficult time expressing my feelings towards them or showing affection. I will still love and care for them, but the walls will make it impossible to show that the way that they need. I think I know where it came from grams. 5 to grams. 12. I had a lot of friend groups that one day just decided to kick me out. Every year or two, my friend group would change drastically, and I kind of floated around trying to fit in with whatever group I found. Aside from a handful of close friends who were always there, and for the most part still are over 10 years later, most my friendships ended within a year or two. This put me on a path of seeing vulnerability as weakness and putting a very high value on self-reliance. Now I'm 30, and it has been at least a contributing factor, if not the factor in my failed relationships. Overthinker. Even though they said that they are glad to be my friend, even though they said they love me, even though they said they enjoy my company, my mind would always be nah, they're lying. Do not believe it. No one likes you. So every time my friends and I hang out, I always think to myself they must hate me for being here. I'm insecure as duck and I'm sensitive as duck too. I hate myself. I wanted to believe them, but it's just that I cannot. I wanted this toxic trait to go away or this will break me. I love attention. I was, of course, the class clown in high school. I have learned to channel this need into things that are good. I volunteer a ton. I bake for people. I write books, partly because I like to, and partly in the hopes to get the reviews. I rescued a dog. Do not get me wrong. I love this dog. But a little tiny part of me was like, people are going to think I'm wonderful. Are not they? I do not know how to completely fill that hole inside me that needs validation. Thankfully I have an awesome husband who gets me, and he is good at filling holes. You see what I did there? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.